Okay, so in today's session, we will see Deliverables Management Service, Transmittal and Submittal Process. How we can try to automate as much as we can our transmittals, the creation and issue of our transmittals. We will try to mitigate risks so we don't do as many human errors as we do, right? And also track the responses and the date of those responses. If who is responding on time, who is responding late, for example. As a reminder, if you want to review the sessions or you know something that wasn't in the presentation, you can always go to our Facebook, ProjectWise, or YouTube, and here's the playlist for all the recorded sessions. Before we start, as we are I'm going to show you this transmittal process. I'm going to play both sides, the sender and the recipient, right? In this case, we have an EPC that has ProjectWise design integration. He will use design integration to store or manage all the files and create the transmittal. And the organization is called Bentley. And then we have a client. The client does not have ProjectWise Design Integration ProjectWise Design Integration, sorry. So he will use the portal to receive the submittals and to respond and to manage all their deliverables. In this case, the client, it's called Mainland. And just so you know, in Bentley, we call a transmittal, it's the package that we issue, the outgoing package. A submittal is the same package, but that you receive. It's an incoming package. So what is the transmittal process? For example, DPC creates and issues a transmittal, in this case with ProjectWise client. The client will acknowledge and will receive that submittal, acknowledge and respond through the portal. The EPC will track the responses through ProjectWise client, and I will show you also how the EPC can track all the responses through the web portal. So we will start creating and issuing a transmittal through ProjectWise client. Stop my PowerPoint and go to ProjectWise. Here I am in my ProjectWise Explorer. I have a lot of projects. I will use this one. One thing that is important to use Deliverables Management in ProjectWise Explorer, you need to have the connection client installed. You need to have ProjectWise Deliverables Management connector for ProjectWise Explorer installed. The list of prerequisites, it's at the end of the PowerPoint, I will show you. You also need a work area, a ProjectWise projects, and the work area has to be associated to the ProjectWise project. How can you tell that the work area is associated to the ProjectWise project? Because this icon is different from the standard work area, right? Okay, so when you install Deliverables Management Connector for ProjectWise Explorer and you associate your work area to a ProjectWise project, you will see here this, it's not a folder, but it's this item, Deliverables Management. You will have incoming, outgoing, and draft like subfolders and transmittals and RFIs. If you click on transmittal, for example, you will see all your transmittals that you've sent and all the information of for those transmittals. For me, the most important is the status. This is just demo data. That's why there are a lot of transmittals with due dates, right? But here you can see I will go to the bottom. See if the transmittal was acknowledged and responded by all the participants or not. We will start creating a transmittal. Just right-click on transmittal, new transmittal. There are several ways to create a transmittal. This is one of those ways. So you will add a subject for the transmittal. You will select a purpose. The purpose, depending on the purpose, you expect a response or not. For example, if you send the documents for review, you expect a response. If you send the documents for information, you don't. You can configure, as we saw yesterday, for those who were yesterday, you can configure all the purposes, the response type, attributes, classification, etc. So in this case, I will select for review. You can add a comment and select the cover letter that you want to use with this transmittal. And last, the classification. In my case, the classification is other disciplines, right? Then you will add the recipients. One thing that you can also do is make this transmittal confidential, with confidential data included. If the transmittal has this setting on, only the recipients of the transmittal can view the documents. Then we will add the recipients. I will add myself, but from the mainline organization. Remember, the EPC is the one that used ProjectWise. It's from Bentley organization. We'll send a transmittal to mainline. Mainline is the client, and they don't have ProjectWise. So I will select only this user. I can select several participants, of course. Then I will select what action I expect from each participant. In this case, acknowledge and response. Next, I can add the documents. As I'm in ProjectWise Explorer, I can use Save Searches, for example, to search for the documents that I want. Not here. If you can send any type of documents or files in a transmittal, PDF, DWGs, DGNs, I don't know, Rabbit files, Office, whatever. You can send everything except installation files, for example. In my case, I will send PDFs, but just for the demo. So here I have a Save Search. I can use this Save Search to add my documents. In this case, it only got these two files. And as we saw yesterday, here I have all the attributes that I want to send with my transmittal. Once I added everything, all the documents I want to send, I will define my schedule. When is the planned issue date? I can select any date as planned issue date. I don't have to wait to the planned issue date to issue my transmittal, but it's a reminder. I know I have to send it this day. That's the last day. And I can set a reminder, for example, 1 day before the planned issue date. When is the acknowledged due date? For example, 2 days after the issue date, or I can set also a fixed date. And the reminder and the response due date, how many days after the issue date, I want the response due date and a reminder. When I issue a transmittal, all the participants will receive email notifications that they have a new transmittal and they have to respond. And for example, in this case, they will receive 2 days before the response due date, they will receive email notifications if they haven't responded yet to everything. Once I finish creating all my transmittal, adding all the documents, the response, due date, everything, I can send the transmittal for review. Maybe my manager has to review, or the project manager has to review the transmittal and issue. I can do that, or I can issue the transmittal. I will issue the transmittal. Deliverables management will create the cover letter automatically. I can review that cover letter before confirming the transmittal. Once I confirm the transmittal, all the participants will receive an email notification. Another thing that while this is uploading, another thing that you can do is use document distribution matrix. With a document distribution matrix, you will define, for example, if the document is sent, let's say, for review and for the discipline architectural, which participants should receive the transmittal. If the transmittal is for review and civil, other participants should receive and respond the transmittal. I will show you that just in a minute. So I can review the cover letter. Here in the cover letter, I have all the details of the transmittal, the sender, the comments, recipients, the documents I'm sending with the attributes that I decided I want in the cover letter. As everything is okay, I will confirm the transmittal. It will issue and send the email notifications. So before I go on with the transmittal process, I want to show you how to create a transmittal, but with document distribution matrix. The subject is the same. The purpose, you will select a purpose, but in this case, I will use a distribution rule. I have my distribution rules are, for example, documents from the architectural discipline and region 1, or architectural region 2, architectural region 3. If I select this one and I go to recipients, the recipients are added automatically according to the distribution rule. The actions I expect from each recipient are also automatically added, and the comments. And I cannot modify these participants. I can add another recipient if I want, but I cannot modify the ones that were configured in the distribution rule. And another thing that it's important is that you can validate document attributes. So I selected architectural region 1. I want to show you how you can check how the distribution rules validate those attributes. So I will select this one, this document, and this one that is from the civil discipline. So when I add the documents, document distribution matrix is telling me that some document attributes fail the validation. I want to add them anyway, and here I have this error, this warning. Attribute validation failed for 2 documents. And if I want, let's say you have, I don't know, 50 documents, you want to see only the failing documents, you can click here. And in this case, it will tell me region 2, or the region, this attribute is wrong because it should be region 1. And in this case, is the discipline is civil and the region is region 2, should be architectural or region 1. What you can do is modify the attributes or delete the documents from or remove the documents from the transmittal. The idea of using distribution matrix is that you will automate some steps like adding the participants and validate attributes, so you will mitigate the risk of making errors. And also, one last thing, you will set in the document distribution matrix the response due date, max response due date. In this case, it's 7. If I want to add a number greater than 7, I cannot do it because it will tell me that it's between 1 and 7 as required by document distribution matrix. I can add a number that is less than 7 in this case. So I wanted to show you that for document distribution matrix. Let's go back to our transmittal process. So I've created an issue at transmittal. Now the participants will receive an email notification like this one, telling them that they have a new submittal package, right? In this case, as I mentioned before, the client, the mainline company, doesn't have ProjectWise, so the email notification has a link to the portal, to that submittal in the portal. They just have to click on that submittal. It will open connect.bentley.com, the portal. If you haven't signed in a while, you will have to sign in. Once you sign in, it will open automatically that submittal in the general page. Here, the client can review all the details of the submittal. He can see that he has 2 days to acknowledge, 5 days to respond, review the cover letter. Maybe, I don't know, something is wrong here. Maybe it says documents, architectural documents, and they send structural documents, something like that. So he can reject all the package. If he rejects the package, no one can respond any document. And the sender will receive an email notification that the package has been rejected. If he wants to reject the package, he will have to add a comment why, right? In this case, I will not reject, but I cannot respond, I cannot do anything with the documents until I acknowledge. I acknowledge the submittal. Every action done to a transmittal or to a submittal is recorded in the history. In this way, the sender will know that I acknowledge. So Teresa Corti from mainline acknowledged the submittal. Then I can go to my responses and start responding. Deliverables Management now has a PDF markup tool to review the documents. As these are PDFs, I don't need to download the PDF to mark it up. So what I can do is review the document. It will open PDF markup tool. Here you can you have the hand to move around window area. Oops. Yes, zoom in, zoom out, fit to page. And then we have here the markup tools, some freehand tools. This is highlight, the cloud, of course, and you can select a color, opacity, and thickness. And I don't know, let's say I will add a cloud here, and then I can add a text, the same. You can select the color of the text, the size of the text, and a comment, of course, for this. There are also note tools. You can add a note. um, and some other tools, right? Uh, that you can select. Once you finish marking up everything, and by the way, you can have more than one user marking up at the same time, right? So you don't have to wait for someone to mark up the document so the other user can mark up the document. You can have several users marking up the document at the same time. Once you finish marking up, you can respond just from here, approve, approve with comments, reject it, depending on your responses. Let's say revise and resubmit. And I can send the response from here if I want. I will add a comment. And send the responses. Once I send the response for this document, the document is locked. I cannot respond one file twice to one file. In this case, I only have two documents. What you can do also is select all the documents or several documents and mark them as approved, approved with comments. If you want also, you want someone in your company to review this document before responding, you can add additional reviewers from your own company. For example, Mark from Mainline. I will select this one and let's say this one is approved and send the responses. So now the client responded to all the documents. The sender will receive an email notification when everyone responded to all the documents. And by the way, also, the client can see here that he has acknowledged and responded to everything. In the status field, he can see, for example, here, this one, he has 7 days to respond yet. This one, 2 days response overdue. If I go back to ProjectWise Explorer to the EPC that sent the transmittal, I will just refresh this page. Sort by sent, office hours. Here I have. You can see that everyone acknowledged and everyone responded to the transmittal. Open the transmittal, go to responses, and I can see that one document was approved, the other one was revise and resubmit. I can go to this document, for example, to open the source document folder. So all the documents that you send in transmittals or you receive in transmittals will be linked to those transmittals and submittals. So from here, in ProjectWise Explorer, of course, from here, this is the document. I can select Deliverables Management tab, and I will see all the transmittals and submittals where I've sent or received this document and the responses. And if they have a document attached, let's say this one, for example. In this case, it was approved with comments with a document attached with all the comments. So from here, I can go to that or the package or that attachment copy to view all the comments. How can you can track the responses? I forgot something, sorry. I will open the package again. So here I'm in the package again. As I mentioned, you can view the responses here, but also you can view the audit trail and history of this transmittal, right? So you have the user, the action, data, time, and all the details of that action, when the package was created, issued, sent, but also, and very important, when it was acknowledged by whom, when it was responded by whom also. And for example, in this case, it's responded one document, revised one document and responded one document at the final response. You can track also all the transmittals through the web portal. Let me come here. I go to my project, Deliverables Management. I will show you with this transmittal. It's an old transmittal, but it has a lot of users and responses. So here you can see, for example, who has acknowledged the transmittal. In this case, everyone who has responded to all the documents and who has not responded to all the documents, but how many documents out of how many each one of the participants has responded. And you can view partial responses in this dashboard. You can select each one of the participants, how each one of them responded, if they responded 100% and when, if they were late or not, or a summary of all the users and the responses. And here you have also each one of the documents with the responses from each of the participants. From the portal, you can also view the history of the transmittal. And you can export it to Excel if you want to create your own report. So you can also use Deliverables Management to create RFIs from the same place. You just right click, new RFI. The RFI is, the idea is kind of similar of a transmittal, but has a different form. You will add a subject, who you want to address the question from the RFI, the question. You can add an attachment, a file attached. All the details, you can add a classification if you want, a priority also, the scheduling, when they have to acknowledge and when they have to respond. This RFI, the participants will receive email notifications. They can click on the links to open those RFIs. The difference between a transmittal and RFIs is that, for example, a transmittal, you will issue the transmittal, the participants will respond to the documents. Once they respond to all the documents, the transmittal is closed, is finished. In the RFI, you can have several cycles because you will issue the RFI. The recipient maybe will preliminary accept the response, so then it will come back to you, or he will reject the question because, I don't know, the document attached is wrong, and the sender will have to resend this RFI, but it's another cycle. It's not that they have to create another RFI. But the idea is to keep track of all the RFIs that they send, also by acknowledged due date and response due date. And last, we have what we call general correspondence. The general correspondence is similar to an email, let's say, but you can keep track of everything also. You have a subject, a comment, you can attach also documents, let's say meeting notes, classification, location. These are all attributes that you can configure, right? But you will add the recipients, a scheduling also, a scheduling. So if you want a response or not, and then in the responses, you will have all the responses from the all the participants. It's not like an email that you send an email to 3 participants and maybe they don't respond, reply all. So then you cannot keep track of that. In this case, you will have all the responses here. You will have a due date. They have to respond on time. And before I finish, I want to go back here to my PowerPoint. At the bottom, as I mentioned yesterday, you will have in the landing page, you will have a link to the PDF that corresponds to this PowerPoint. But what I want to show you is this. Okay, as I told you before, a Transmittal is an outgoing package and the Submittal is incoming. But here, for ProjectWise Design Integration users, the prerequisites, the connection client, Deliverables Management connector for ProjectWise Explorer install, work area associated to the ProjectWise project, all with links to the helps. And then here, all the links to the help to create issue, view a transmittal response, etc., from the portal or from ProjectWise Explorer. So, do you have any questions? I see a question here. Let me see. So, yes, I will repeat the questions because then, if not, they are not in the video. So one of the questions is how would we create document distribution matrix? We will post, yes, a link shortly, and also you can go to Bentley Communities. Let me show you where. To Bentley Communities. Just a second. Working with ProjectWise 365, for example, and we don't have yet the link here, but we will have one of the items is Deliverables Management, and there will be a video showing how to configure document distribution matrix. There will be videos like this, right? But for Deliverables Management, it's not there yet, but we will upload it this week. And also there is a section for it in ProjectWise Deliverables Management Administrator section that will show you how you can configure everything. What is the file size restriction for sending documents? The file size limit is around 10 gigabytes for one or combined size of all files. Okay, so thank you everyone. I hope you enjoy all these sessions. Bye.